low species value nature system. There are police associated with a Yagmin family that was in a. One of them was in a algebra class I had, and there was a domain, a Mike domain in a domain family. It was Eric Mendez, who are two police and police families with their brothers involved with drugs and stuff with them, and it was the relative of Congressman Larson in that class, associated with for them repeated, associated with First and Last Tavern, which is at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, where it runs into the before the heart of Hartford. Now, that was a nice kid. I don't even know his name. In other words, they used to. I had no relationship in and outside campus with those people. Also recorded and confessed they had crime roles with. That's also, see, that Anthony Yagmin. He was the only time I ever was close to having had like words or a second conversation, not even a second conversation with him, of Phil Cololo. So he's recorded and confessed by a Bob Chase and by people associated with criminal justice, associated with some sex offender cliques, with his cousin who lived in my area. I never saw him in my area growing up. I never saw him in my area as an adult. I don't even know if one time I might have seen him driving in a car. That's it. And I don't even know if that was him. Phil Klobich is important because these are people that have been pretending they knew me in the past because they were used for police reports where they were stacking identity thefts and stuff, fake illusions in the past. Before that course, like a year or two before that, I had filmed the strangers on each side of the high school who approached me with confessions regarding a Joe DeMoro tied to them, and who's also friends with my neighbor. And the ones that came in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. One from New York. Also his wife and people tied to her, associated with crimes with the body dumping spots. People, and with them pretending they were online, pretending I had conversations with them about the CIA, which simultaneously was pretending I had conversations with them. Kathy Fienza, I never saw her in my entire life. She's attached to Eric Klotz, reportedly his wife now, who lived down the street with a brother, Sean Klotz. See, these are people also associated with criminal justice, with CCO, SU, criminally involved since I was in high school, through generations. So there's also recorded and confessed involved, like a security guard named John. I don't know the rest of them. Security guards and stuff like that involved. Like a dean, what's his name? A guy, I don't know his name. Guy Dean Villas. See, these are also people that recorded and confessed involved crimes with the houses I recorded involved with the drugs on both sides of the schools, as confessions that made that to me out of nowhere. Also tied to their roles with the confessions. There were confessions made to me from an interbranch family and demonstrations of their roles with evidence reception crimes, wherein as and how we've had interbranch and foreign criminal enterprises juxtaposed with areas through time. Since before our nation's founding, we have known like overt criminal enterprises, unrealized ones with the area. So there's Anthony Yagmin and there's an Eric Mendez recorded and confessed involved with sex crime rolls in the Britain Superior Court, with them using Facebook, and with judges of various natures of courts. Like there's a Delaferro family also they were recorded and confessed involved with. The father says they're criminally acknowledged they're criminally involved with a probate court judge in their family, tied to like drug crimes with these cliques, with evidence crimes with the cliques with the courts. These are doctors tied to various natures of courts and their drug cliques, evidence fabrication nature cliques, identity theft cliques. Like a Brian Silver, also recorded and confessed. I never had a conversation with him in my life either. By a Rickshaw Fayon and them. See, those are people that hung around with my neighbor's cousin, and probably him and Joe DeMauro, who I didn't hang around with them, but once in a while they would make confessions to me. You know, and they used to, you know, everyone used to smoke marijuana. They used to sell it, you know, to the kids, and they would have that where all the sellers are various natures of drugs and stuff. They're all connected, and they're using that to spread rumors. Excuse me, I'm all smoking here from cooking. So, Facebook blocks me for I don't even do anything. They block me for 30 days each time, but they leave this kid still posting. It's not even this guy. Not still posting. In other words, he's an identity theft, threatening me, recorded. They're tied to sex offenders. One that used to be a police dispatcher, involved with untimely deaths and stuff with cliques tied to them too. Also associated with on and off campus, like where a bunch of the kids never went to my school. They went to private schools, and they're involved with the drug cliques and stuff like that. They're used for evidence crimes. These are people that were also used for trade center crimes as a group that was interstate and was tied to the trade center context. A proven sequence shift from in the Ninth Circuit. See now, Weathersfield interbranch actors in Connecticut cases, and actors with the courts, they've been putting sequence shifts into databases. They've been putting fake relationships to others, fake conversations, switching names into databases, switching sequences into databases, in conjunction with the same groups that were with the proven with the police forms and with the federal criminals, and with their kids associated with these kids growing up, who are co-defendants of a former director, Robert Luskin, in a 2006 part of a 2006 case that came to the involved. Since before that and since, they were with the same people associated with that case, with crime methods and acts against me recorded. Because they had a daughter in my grade, they had an Eric Jensen also recorded and confessed involved with these people, like on each side of the high school. And these are also people connected to drug houses, evidence fabrication natures next to each of the schools. The high school's right next to the middle school. This is also a Yagmin house and a Pandolf house. There are others near that corner there where the Samuel Dix house is, which is a database relationship house that George Washington and the French general, even together, they could only semi-counter extort. They had to leave with overt slavery in the north, in Weathersfield, Hartford, Connecticut. In the north. Crazy in New York. Slavery. What they set up, what they, That was a breaching method. An organized crime method using human fact treatment nature as its agenda, not money. Not doing that for money. Doing that then to perpetually now and perpetually have people all roles defending a nature in relationship to the campus Marcius, which was revealed campus as value nature relationship to nature, that its criminal reengineering, natural, will demonstrate negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Negative value natures like wrongdoers, like criminal insidiousness natures. Criminal insidiousness nature acts, even like predicate acts, associated with criminal enterprises. That was the 2006 case was a part of a RICO, Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. And that was with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, who had co-defendants with there was a Thaddeus Grabowski also with that, recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with a Mulcahy girls. I never had a conversation with, never had a class with them, never met them personally. Also recorded and confessed involved with the Domain and the Mendez brothers with the corner of the Fox CT as police intercity through time criminally involved. And we know with that Thaddeus Grabowski with that corner next to Fox CT. in the garage right there. Thaddeus Grabowski is one of the federal criminals who was in a 2006 case, part of the case tied to them leading up to that case with like a Gill family and with other girls and stuff like that, confessed and recorded. They were manipulated by court police and by their drug cliques from my town associated intercity with Covington Street through time, next to CCSU, and with policing with CCSU, all kinds of ways, dozens of people tied to CCSU and other criminal justice at other colleges with other programs like English. Like I went to Middlesex. When I was still in high school, Joe DeMoro and Eric Jensen and Mike Roberts recorded and confessed. That was involved with their roles with recorded and confessed database solution stack and identity theft crime roles. Ones with my neighbors associated with the sex offenders that have a cousin, and others further involved with that, with police forms and people associated with prisons, with kids through time, with these cliques, and with drugs through time, with these cliques, with criminal, with the policing of stores, and of drugs, with stores, and the people that work with them. In other words, Little Rap Man was with criminal justice with sex offenders tied to them. The former police dispatcher, white mother, single, like real, like a biker lady, real like interstate, retired and standing fire inspectors and stuff like that, interstate with New York too, tied to their roles with the Trade Center crime clique, with the federal criminals from my town, also interstate like I forgot his name, but there's an Eric Jensen, and there's a federal criminal that was also one of the co-defendants of the Thaddeus Grabowski, involved with the so there's an Eric Mendez also involved with New Britain Superior Court with rape threats, and then with crimes and identity thefts, fake conversations, relationships. I never had a class with him. The only time I know him in my life, he called me on a phone, recorded and confessed, involved crimes with a Fred Grisey, and with his roles with a cousin of a Ray Colo and his sister named Phil Colo. Now Bob Chase also recorded and confessed that Phil Colo was involved with a police report he was supposed to read to me. They made a police report with his name on it as a tactic to make it look like I knew him or had a conversation with him growing up. and the only exception, there's two times I was in as president, and if I had noted those exceptions, the only time it was even almost a conversation, not even besides nonverbal, we almost fought, but not almost fought. This is also recorded and confessed tied to houses on Two Rod Highway, involved and off of it, like where it runs into Hang Dog Lane in the Brown Turnpike again before the heart of Hartford. There's also people recorded and confessed involved with interbranch corruption and foreign and drugs and stuff like that, with the sex offenders cliques, also associated with the golf course and with across the street from it. That's the what is it, Cedar Hills? That's the cemetery where J.P. Morgan was buried. The government had to borrow money from him to fight the world wars. That's also because we were forced to fight the world wars because of how George Washington and the French general could only send me to counter-extort, which had slavery north and south, not just in the colonies, but as what they had to leave it north and south, because they could only semi-counter-extort what had that. Internation fake sides there here. Forced police not telling on that. England's forced to be the narrative in face of that, of Connecticut at the time, of East, North. But really, so anyway, fake news, Fox CT, recorded, confessed distinctly, non-distinctly involved with crimes with these people, with WFSB too, because they stole they did this with courts criminally time, recorded doing it with schools. See, because I handed in a video presentation on the stranger because he made confessions and demonstrations of his crime roles with the DeMorrow family, who was recorded and confessed involved with the three with criminality that was associated with interbranch family and overt criminal enterprises with the areas and with their roles with drugs and stuff with them. And he sought me out to make confessions about his roles with doctors. And these are people who are, mentally ill. Then they pretended in databases they had conversations with me too, because the drug cliques of a Leahy family, like 3 or 4 Leahy brothers, and women with their family associated with the Yagmin family, with houses around the Samuel Dick's house criminally with them through time. Like a Mike Pandolf, also recorded and confessed, involved with the criminal justice, military, evidence fabrication natures, like MPO Floyd and Justin Klavinskis, like military police families, also associated with like a Dillon family, retired and standing detectives, like in this Mendez family, with crimes with sex offender cliques, like the principal sex offender just sentenced. They first forced him sustained with rape threats and evidences crimes and identity thefts against me. Since before while that's what they did, that was the value of them making the fake news. That was their motivations for it, to hide from police reports. Now, so they're using these people on Facebook. They keep blocking me for 30 days. They're extorting me because, they're not letting me correct the identity thefts. They have the retired and standing detectives involved with drugs with